Little chill in the air, that means football. That means Brown's Daily Dose, and that means one Steve King joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Sam, I am fine. How about you?
I'm better because, boy, did I screw things up yesterday, didn't I?
Well,
I,
that's all
I,
right.
I gave my producer the wrong area code, and we're dialing,
Well,
and I'm like, oh, my God, is Steve okay?
well, the area code that you used to live in and that you live in now is not the area code for the phone you have.
I know.
That all changed with cell phones, right?
Right, you're exactly right.
Pick a number, any number. You can, if it's free, you can have it.
So I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, it's been 25 minutes. I'm going to check. I'm going to text and see if he's okay. And then we looked at the number, and I was like, oh, my God, we did the wrong thing. So that was my mistake. I apologize for that. But thanks for coming on today because I wanted to pick your brain on a lot of stuff with the Browns. And the first thing I would ask you about, is it significant? Is it really significant or no that Bailey Zappi was brought upon to be on the practice squad?
Yeah, I unfortunately, it is because they still don't believe in Shedeur Sanders. This is what this is. Their fear is, you got to remember, Dylan Gabriel had some hamstring issues too. So let's just say that, somebody misses a block and, Flacco gets hit. Big guy, that would take a lot, but he gets hit and goes down and he has to go out of the game. Then, if Dylan Gabriel, all of a sudden, that hamstring is not quite right, then who goes in? And they do not want, it's apparent that they do not want, Shedeur Sanders to go in there, which I think is unfortunate because, he's the guy that if anybody out of the bottom end of that quarterback, derby list is going to help this franchise going forward, it's him. It's not anybody else. And I just feel like, you know what? And I wrote this last week with that situation with, him not being able to get that last drive.
Mm-hmm. That
was unfortunate because as a young quarterback, you want him to have that. Now, and quarterbacks, a quarterback has a psyche unlike any other player, maybe in team sports. It's fragile. You got to have everyone rowing the boat in the right direction. And when you do something like that, it causes waves, literally and figuratively. And when you do it to a rookie quarterback, it causes a lot of waves. And it's unfortunate. And I just, for the life of me, do not understand why Kevin Stefanski did that. Put him in there, let him play. He's a baller. He wants to get in there. Sure, he's upset. So put him in there, let him play. And I don't, Tyler Huntley, as you found out, because he, spent very little time with the team after that, is not the guy that figures into the Browns' plans in any way, shape, or form. Why they did what they did, I don't know, but it's just, it's bothersome to me, and I think it's a real sign, and it's disrespectful, and I would like to put the truth serum in Shedeur Sanders and find out what he really believes and how he feels about it. And you'll never get that, but I would love to hear what it really is.
Steve, excellent point, and I want to piggyback off of that. And I was listening. I know it was a national show. It was on satellite. It might have been NFL Network, or I was driving around a couple of days ago, and a caller called into the host, and they said the host, he asked about Shedeur, and the host said this was his theory, that Shedeur had already, in the Browns' eyes, Shedeur had already made the team. So they didn't want to put him out there, and if he got hurt, they knew Huntley was going to get waived, so they put him in there to give him a couple of series on tape so somebody might give him a shot. Do you buy that or no?
I guess it's possible. Anything's possible. But here's the deal. I mean, we have these practice games, and then we don't play players. Pittsburgh's didn't play Aaron Rodgers. Guy shows up in the middle of summer, they don't play him. The Bengals found out what happens when you don't play players. You get off to a slow start. I mean, The football's a rough game. At some point, you're going to get hit, you're going to get knocked down, and you've got to get back up. I at least want the guy to have a chance to show what he can do before he starts holding a clipboard on the sidelines and being the third quarterback or whatever the case may be. And, why you wouldn't play him? He's an agile guy. If he sees the rush coming, he'll throw it away. And he might be, 24 yards in the backfield when he does it, but you got to coach him out of that. You got to get him out of that. And the only way to learn how to play football is to play football. You don't do it by, taking the guy off and making a public scene of it. I kind of liken it to when your parents disciplined you as a kid. The worst thing was getting disciplined in public because not only did you get disciplined, but everybody saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now the parents, a lot of them, go behind closed doors and do it because that's just, it's embarrassing. It's, you don't want anybody to see that. Well, he got embarrassed in front of a regional TV audience and 50,000 people or whoever were there in the stadium. And I just think that's unfortunate. You don't have to do that.
Steve King is our guest, Browns Daily Dose, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN, and all across all of our WDPN social media platforms. Another one on Shedeur. This is kind of my thought here. What is the real reason that they're not really giving him a shot? And I've got two theories. One, is it because they truly believe that he is going to be really good someday, and they want to bring him along very slowly, develop him very slowly, and when the time is right, they'll be ready to light that fire? Or, Steve, they just don't believe he is the long-term answer at all. Or at least Kevin Stefanski doesn't think that.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and this is going to sound like, we're beating a dead horse, but I've never seen a shot of the draft room on draft day. When I don't care if you pick a guy that's the Mr. Irrelevant. Guys are in there hugging each other, high fiving because they're all happy that they got the guy they wanted.
I remember this.
So this
I
is
remember
the guy that we target.
Yep.
And you the look on their faces. They can couch that. They can talk about that.
Yep.
And Kevin Stefanski said, "Don't make too much of that." Well, you're sitting there, and two guys look just like, again, somebody just keyed their car. and you can't get around it. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. And, we make this all way too complicated. That was, somebody needs to explain in real terms what that was. And that was Jimmy Haslam ordering them to make that pick, and they didn't want to do it. And all of a sudden, they see the guy picked, and they forget that the camera is going to go in and show that.
You're right. I remember that.
And you watched Shedeur Sanders in college. Did he do things wrong? Yeah, he sure did. He wasn't perfect, but you saw him play and turn Colorado's program around. It went from just maybe the most horrific, Power 5 team in any conference to, they were made a bowl game, and that didn't happen by accident. So the kid can play. I don't know why we have to have all these theatrics. And again, I wrote this for Kenny Pickett. They thought they got a great prize in trading Kenny Pickett to Las Vegas for a 5th-round draft choice.
Mm-hmm.
A 5th-round draft choice is a practice squad guy.
Yep.
You can couch that however you want. That's draft assets or whatever you want to call it. It's a practice squad guy. You're never going to, you trade a quarterback who at the start of camp, people were saying, hey, he'll be the guy. And then all of a sudden you trade him for a 5th-round draft choice. You've got a guy in there that's on your team, and you got him for a 5th-round draft choice, and we've made way too much of this in terms of the Browns appearing, at least with their 2 top football men, not to want the guy. And then perception is 90% of reality. Then you pull him on that last drive. So I mean, if it's not that, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell the truth on it.
Here's another one of my theories, and I shared it with a couple of Browns folks over the past 2 or 3 days. If things go sideways, I think the Browns are almost trying to set themselves up for this to go sideways very quickly, and I'm not sure how interested they are in really winning games. I know that sounds awful, but let's face it, it's happened before in professional sports more than once. I truly believe, Steve, with every shred of orange and brown in my body, they are going all in on Arch Manning when he comes out for the draft. And I truly believe Arch is coming out. I don't believe what Archie says. Forget that. He's going to come out. And if he lights it up against Ohio State on Saturday and Texas wins, they go on to have a great year, maybe win the national championship. I think the Haslams want him in the worst way, and they will do whatever it takes to get him.
I wholeheartedly agree. This is a kid that comes from pretty good stock. He says, I don't know. I'll be ready. And Haslam says, I don't know the Manning family very well, and this and that and the other. And so, don't listen to what they say. Listen to how they say it.
Uh-huh.
And that's exactly what it is. I think it's, you hate to see going to win 3 games again, but 2 games, but maybe that's the way this thing is leaning. But if it gets them a quarterback in some way, shape, or form that can get them out of the mud, then you take it. I mean, what's one more year?
Yeah, and I'm all Steve. I'm all for it. I'll suffer. I'll suffer another year. I'll suffer.
A difference maker.
Yeah,
absolutely. The kid's a difference maker. I mean, you look at him and you look at what he can be, and we'll see a little bit of that come Saturday at noontime. And you're right. It's we'll watch him closely all season long because the Browns are going to be right there competing for that spot. And you get an Arch Manning, and you get everybody's attention in the league when you get an Arch Manning.
Yep. And then you got, a couple more years down on the lake, and then the Taj Mahal goes up in Brook Park, and all of a sudden now, things are moving in a good direction for the Cleveland Browns. We got Steve King on the line. Browns Daily Dose here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Browns, a week from this Sunday, will take on the Cincinnati Bengals up at the stadium. Was there a surprise or two for you now that camp has ended, Steve? Anything really give you a wow moment one way or the other?
I think, and I'm going to write about it for this Quinshon Judkins thing.
What is going on?
Out of nowhere, they drafted him at the top of the second round to be their running back, and be Nick Chubb's heir apparent, and no sign of any character issues. And then it happens, and now all of a sudden we're ready to start the season in a week. He's still not signed, and he's nowhere close to being able to play in a game if he ever gets a chance to play in the game. And that to me was it was shocking. And, you didn't see that coming. You saw Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Do you like vanilla ice cream or chocolate? And they ended up with the guy they wanted because they had the first shot at him. And now you get this. And, the Browns are a team that are going to, try because of their lack of weapons. They got a pretty good defense, or at least a capable defense. And they're going to try to shorten games, run the ball, keep the other team's offense off the field. And that's really apparent with Cincinnati. I mean, they can't stop anybody, but nobody can stop them. So you keep that offense off the field a little bit. It's the first game. Cincinnati has not played well in the opening parts of the season in the last 3-4 years. I mean, the opportunity is right there for you in front of your home fans to spring an upset and get a big win. And now it's all, down the tubes, at least from that standpoint of running the ball, because, Judkins, who knows when, if ever, he's going to play this year. That stunned the heck out of me.
Yeah, me too. And then, like, the further along we go and I start watching these highlight reel runs from Travion Henderson, I'm thinking, we took the wrong Buckeye. I just can't.
First time he touches the ball in a pro game, he goes 100 yards.
Right. I was like,
he's running against Texas.
You had a 50-50 chance, and you screwed it up. You took the wrong Buckeye. Steve King is our guest here on Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Okay.
Well, and Sam, I want to make this point.
Yeah.
Too. And the Browns said they didn't see anything, and that's probably true. But you have to have people who have a sixth sense about them when they're judging the character of these guys that you're going to be spending millions of dollars on. Maybe there was nothing that ever happened, but you look deeply into a guy's past and just see maybe when you picking between him and Travion Henderson and who else. Was there something there that maybe was a smoldering fire that could have ignited? That's what you're looking for, and they didn't see that, so they took him. But I've got to believe that an incident like that just doesn't pop up out of the ground. There's something along the way in his character that allowed that to happen. There's something. There was something there that just wasn't noticed, wasn't diagnosed, and that's the mistake of it all. You never heard anything like that with Travion Henderson or Judkins.
Nope.
And you got to remember, when they got Judkins, they asked, when they were going to bring Judkins in through the transfer portal, they asked Travion Henderson, and his thing was, hey, anything to help us win a national championship. That's character right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's character. And so, I don't know, but it's, they've got a second-round draft choice that isn't even signed, and they're ready to play. That's bad for everybody involved.
Let's end this on an up note, maybe. Positives, Steve. I think a Schlesinger, the linebacker, I think he's played pretty well. Anybody else stick out on the positive for you?
Well, I tell you what, watching Joe Flacco play for Baltimore, I never thought I would say, I would pay. He's worth the price of admission. He's worth turning on the TV set. He's worth watching the game. He's a professional quarterback, and whatever else may go right or wrong or whatever, I am going to enjoy watching Joe Flacco, because whatever this team is capable of, he will get them to that point. And that's the one saving grace. It's the most important position in team sports. You got Joe Flacco playing. That's a big positive. And along with that defense, and I think this defense, after taking a step back last year, is going to take a step forward. You don't have enough offensive weapons, and your running back situation is cloudy because of everything. So, and hey, is Posey going to play or not? And is he hurt or not? And that's your center. That's the guy that's making the line calls. So your offense is a little fuzzier right now. Is what's going to happen. But you got Joe Flacco, and I think that is the best thing the Browns have going for him right now.
Steve, Saturday, Texas and Ohio State at high noon on the banks of the Olentangy. Who do you like?
I like the Buckeyes because I believe they are ready to show people that wasn't just some kind of, we got hot in the end of the season. I think it's more, we want to prove everybody we didn't play as well as we wanted during the regular season, and we finally caught fire. And everybody wants to point to this guy and that guy on Texas. Well, Ohio State's got a pretty darn good team, too. They're playing at home, and the guy that's probably the best player on the field, not named Jeremiah Smith, is Caden Downs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I mean, he's as good in the back end of the defense as Jeremiah Smith is on the flank of the offense. And they got maybe the two best players in college football, and they both play for Ohio State. And I think big players, great players, tremendous players make big plays in big games, and I look for both of those guys to help that young quarterback along. And I think they win it, but it's gonna go right down to the end, just like it went right down to the end in the playoffs last year.
I think you're right. I think we're in for some nail biting around 3:00 on Saturday. Steve, I always appreciate your time. It is. It's going to be fun. I kind of wish it was at nighttime, but we'll deal with the noon kick, and we'll see what happens. Steve, always a pleasure. Yep. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day, and we'll catch up with you here down the road. Okay.
I look forward to it. Thank you for the opportunity.
You bet. There he goes. Steve King, one of the best in the business, checking us out with Brown's Daily Dose here on 1310 WDPN.